Ragnar Lodbrok.
Ragnar Lodbrok or Lothbrok was a legendary Norse ruler and hero from the Viking Age described in Old Norse poetry and several sagas. In this tradition, Ragnar was the scourge of France and England and the father of many renowned sons, including Ivar the Boneless, Björn Ironside, Halfdan Ragnarsson, Sigurd Snake-in-the-Eye, and Ubbe Ragnarsson. While his sons are historical figures, it is uncertain whether Ragnar himself existed. Many of the tales about him appear to originate with the deeds of several historical Viking heroes and rulers. According to legend, Ragnar was thrice married, to the shield maiden Leidrithr, to the noblewoman Thora Borgahjor, and to the warrior Queen Aslaug. Said to have been a relative of the Danish king Gudfred and son of the Swedish king Sigurd Ring, he became king himself and distinguished himself by many raids and conquests until he was eventually seized by his foe, King Amala of Northumbria, and killed by being thrown into a pit of snakes. His sons bloodily avenged him by invading England with a great heathen army.
Historicity.
As a figure of legend whose life only partially took place in times and places covered by written sources, the extent of Ragnar's historicity is not quite clear. In her commentary on Saxo's Gesta Danorum, Hilda Ellis Davidson notes that Saxo's coverage of Ragnar's legend in Book 9 of the Gesta appears to be an attempt to consolidate many of the confusing and contradictory events and stories known to the chronicler into the reign of one king, Ragnar. That is why many acts ascribed to Ragnar in the Gesta can be associated, through other sources, with various figures, some of which are more historically certain. These candidates for the historical Ragnar include King Horik I, d. 854, King Ragnfrid, d. 814, a king who ruled part of Denmark and came into conflict with Harald Klak, one Reginrus who attacked Paris in the middle of the 9th century, possibly the Renal of the Irish annals, and the Viking leader whose death caused his sons to invade England with a great heathen army in 865. So far, attempts to firmly link the legendary Ragnar with one or several of those men have failed because of the difficulty in reconciling the various accounts and their chronology. Nonetheless, the core tradition of a Viking hero named Ragnar, or similar, who wreaked havoc in mid-9th century Europe and who fathered many famous sons is remarkably persistent, and some aspects of it are covered by relatively reliable sources, such as the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle. According to Davidson, writing in 1979, certain scholars in recent years have come to accept at least part of Ragnar's story as based on historical fact. Catherine Holman, on the other hand, concludes that although his sons are historical figures, there is no evidence that Ragnar himself ever lived, and he seems to be an amalgam of several different historical figures and pure literary invention.
Sources.
The medieval sources that cover Ragnar include the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, a collection of 9th century annals, Book 9 of the Gesta Danorum, a 12th century work by the Christian chronicler Saxo Grammaticus, the tale of Ragnar's sons, Ragnarssona Thattr, a legendary saga, the tale of Ragnar Lodbrok, another saga, a sequel to the Volsunga saga, the Runastrapa, a skaldic poem of which only fragments remain, attributed to the 9th century poet Bragi Boddason, the Krakumal, Ragnar's death song, a 12th century Scottish skaldic poem.
In popular culture. Film and television.
In The Vikings, a film of 1958, Ragnar, played by Ernest Born, is captured by King Amala of Northumbria and cast into a pit of wolves. His son Einar, presumably a variation of the historical Ivar, played by Kirk Douglas, vows revenge and conquers Northumbria. Ragnar Lothbrok, played by Travis Fimmel, is the protagonist of the History Channel's historical drama series Vikings that debuted in 2013.
Video games.
The Play the World expansion packs for the 2001 video game Civilization 3 added Scandinavia as a playable civilization, with Ragnar as the leader. The Viking Invasion expansion pack for 2002's medieval, Total War also included Ragnar as the first king of the Vikings, reigning during the late 8th and early 9th century. The Warlords expansion pack for 2005 Civilization 4 included a playable Viking civilization with Ragnar as the leader. Ragnar is the name of the Nord king in the video game Mount and Blade, Warband, released in 2010. The Old Gods expansion pack for 2012's Crusader Kings 2 makes it possible to play as any one of Ragnar's 5 sons. Ragnar is the name of main character in the Rune video game, released in 2000.
Literature.
Ragnar Lothbrok's shipwreck, capture, and execution, as well as his son's revenge, are portrayed in Harry Harrison's alternative history novel The Hammer and the Cross, the first of a trilogy. Ragnar Lothbrok is featured in Edison Marshall's 1951 novel, The Viking, Del, from which the Kirk Douglas movie script was later constructed.
Music.
Lodbrok is the 8th song on Gran Magus's self-titled debut album, released in 2001. The story of Ragnar Lodbrok and his son, Halfdan, is the theme of the song Heathen Assault by Dodd Wamsworth from the 2003 album Let Battle Commence.
Sport.
Ragnar is the mascot of the NFL team Minnesota Vikings. The Ragnar Relay Series is a series of long-distance relay